Be fair. Don't we all want to be fair? It's like a basis of life, right? Or the basis of the school or what we want to do. Well, in this module, we're going to talk about being fair. But what does it mean to be fair when we talk about assessment? So, like in the past, you're going to do some things to think about this. So in the module about being fair, you're going to look at a little bit about history, and that includes the history of report cards and standardized testing. Kind of the concepts we have in here. Common practices in your interactive notebook, and also what being fair is in equity. So, and we're only going to touch this a tiny bit and dip our toe into it. We're really not going to go deep. So, this might be an area where like, oh, I want to get deeper into this. You're free to, hopefully you'll get a nice foundation here that you can do that. So first, you might want to take a look at the checklist to get an overview, get a sense of how much time different things are going to take. Check things off as you do them, if you'd like to. Let's navigate over here. So the first thing that you'll do is think about your discussion right in here. Think about a time when the assessment really just missed the mark. So an assumption that somebody made about you or a loved one, and what information would it be missing that possibly would have changed the judgment if they had known the information or saw it from a different perspective. How did that experience affect you, or your motivation, or your confidence, your sense of belonging, even those inward feelings? And also then looking back, could there have been something that would have been deemed a little more fair? I don't know about you, but I think I have something that happens almost every day in this area. So I want you to think about that. And of course, then you can respond to your colleagues in here too. And once again, you're set up in those groups. So have fun thinking about this. And I think the fun part of this is that you're seeing that it's normal, right? It's normal that we do this and we talk to each other and miss the mark all the time. And that's part about being human, and that's okay. Okay, the next thing is you have your interactive notebook, and then you'll go through that part of the interactive notebook, once again. So that's going to be up here in the interactive notebook. And then next, you're going to have your project. And here are the directions for the project. In here, like the other one. Now, in this project, it's a Google Doc, so you want to make sure that you look at the tabs. And we'll go over the project a little more later. But I hope it's one that you really enjoy. Again, this is one that I think touches me in a different way when we think about it. Just like we think about it's normal to have misunderstandings even in communication. I almost feel like this assessment also is normal, that assessment is never 100% valid. It's always going to have some bias. The question is, what is the bias? Not if it's biased, right? What is it? And then the next assignment, after you complete your assignment, once again, we want you to go into the post, and here we want to think about, what surprised you in this, and then maybe explain why, it surprised you, or what analysis was in there that it is helping you to think differently. So I hope you enjoyed this project and this whole unit. Or this module, I would say. I do want you to know that this is something I take very seriously. So if you were to read the whole syllabus, I know it takes a while to read the whole syllabus, but in here, when it talks about grading, let me see if I can find it. Oh, here, right in here. It says, grading is the summative quantitative measure of the way your work aligns to the expectations of the instructor. The grade does not indicate how intelligent you are, nor how good a person you are. I hope in writing that, you're seeing that I'm talking about my bias here, right? Like, you're trying to meet the goals. This course was created so that you could learn particular content based on the epistemic assumptions determined by the professor. I'm determining what I think truth is. That's what epistemic is. The course is created so that you can earn competency in the objectives by the end of the course. Assessment is for learning. So there you go, assessment for learning. Remember you studied that? So my hope is that when you're doing the assignments, you're learning things. That I'm not assessing what you learned. It's when you're doing your project, you're actually in the learning process. So that's what I believe in. What does assessment for learning mean in practical terms? The professor desires that you demonstrate competency of the objectives. The B grade shows general competency of the objectives. If you do not earn the grade for which you aspire, read the feedback on your assessment. Discuss it with the professor and resubmit, identifying how you have modified your work. Communicate with the professor, and they will reassess your work. Please read the directions and feedback of the specific assignments so that the learning cycle can be completed. So again, that's my belief. So here are more notes about assessment. Assessment is made for us. We are not made for assessment. This means that all grading items and percentages are subject to change based on the learning needs of the class. So the purpose of assessment, again, this goes back to your hack 2, right? Formative gives us feedback on our strengths, weaknesses, and areas for improvement, and also helps me change my instruction. Dispositional supplies accountability so that we can discipline our mind, because we all need to discipline our mind so we can grow and learn. And summative supplies a means for quantifying achievement. So that's what I try to do with your assessment in the end, right, is to give a grade. So please note that I do have an understanding that my assignments are written from my perspective. Therefore, I do have that bias. And I want to explicate that bias for you and know that you can talk to me if you feel that you were improperly assessed. And you can talk to any professor, by the way, according to our handbook. But also in this class, I want you to master our objectives. And in that, I hope that I am fair. And more importantly, that we have assessment for learning so we can all be better.